Three things I liked about the brand new Mizuno TC-01 training shoe. Number one is how maneuverable and flexible this model is. So this shoe is designed to promote balance, and it's meant to be just kind of the best of all worlds in terms of just overall training, whether that be for agility, lifting, and so forth. And this shoe is super comfortable. It has a booty design, a knit upper, and I think it's super comfortable to wear on a daily basis along with workouts. My second pro with this model is the C.O.B technology that goes into it. So basically that is these bumps here on the midsole that are meant to promote balance through the connection of basically how the shoe fits with your mind and body when doing different movements. Now, does it really promote balance? It's really tough to say just on my anecdotal evidence, but it is a cool feature, and I think Mizuno are trying something different and new, which adds a little bit of uniqueness to this model. My final pro with this shoe, along with the maneuverability, is just how comfortable it is. It has this nice booty design. It's a little bit more padded back here towards the boot, and it fits super well. It fits the foot very form-fitting, and it fits very snug. So I think if you're looking for a comfortable ride, this shoe's a good bet. Two cons I have with this model is number one, I don't think it's gonna be the best for supporting heavy lifts. It has a PU midsole, which is super comfortable and reactive, and it feels great for shorter runs, agility-based workouts, and lighter lifts, but it's not the most stable under heavy compounds. So as you can see, it compresses a little bit. So if you're looking for a shoe to be super stable under your compound movements, this might not be the best bet. My second con with this model is that it is slightly expensive. It comes in around $140, and if you're looking for a more budget-friendly cross-training shoe, this isn't gonna be the best bet. Granted, there are some proprietary things within this model, so if you are looking for kind of that center of balance technology and you want a very comfortable booty style shoe with a knit upper, then maybe the $140 is justified, but it is slightly more expensive. So as mentioned in the cons section, this shoe costs $140. Now, Mizuno did put out the TC-02, and that comes in around $100, so it is a little bit more budget friendly. But again, the price could be justified if you're looking for the specific needs that this shoe is providing, but it is slightly more expensive. All right, so now let's chat performance of this model. This is Mizuno's first kind of official cross trainer, so I was very interested to see how it performed in the gym and under the barbell. This shoe has a 4mm heel to toe drop offset, so it matches what most top cross trainers have. So how did it hold up during heavier weight? All in all, it does a decent job at supporting weight in the squat, deadlift, power clean. It has a PU midsole, so it is a little bit more compressible than your other more, let's say, stable options on the market. So it isn't the best in terms of stability, but it does an adequate job when supporting just your kind of sub-maximal lower end weights. In terms of overall comfort on a day-to-day basis, the shoe's pretty comfortable. It has the PU midsole like mentioned before, so it has a little bit of reactive give to it, so it's not incredibly tough to walk on all day. Is it the most comfortable ride out there? Obviously not, but if you want to wear it on a day-to-day basis, I think you can pull it off with the TC-01 and have decent comfort. Plus the booty design and knit upper is pretty breathable, so you're not going to have an incredibly sweaty foot on a very hard surface. So on a day-to-day setting, the shoe does a pretty good job. Where I like this shoe most is with shorter runs and agility workouts. I think the technology that Mizuno put into the shoe is pretty cool. You can actually feel the clusters in the midsole that are meant to promote the balance. So whether they work or not, it's tough to say from just my review alone, but I do think it's something cool that Mizuno is really trying to capture on. I don't think a lot of shoes kind of take that aspect of balance into account as heavily as this model does. So it's cool to see Mizuno try to make a swing at something a little bit more unique with training shoes. So when it comes to agility, jumping, and running, I like this shoe a lot. Would I run 5 miles in it? No. But for shorter runs, jumps, and more agility-based workouts, I think this shoe excels. So to wrap up my whole performance thoughts, on a day-to-day setting, this shoe does a pretty good job. In the gym, under heavy weight, it does an okay job at supporting weight. I would not use it for maxed out sessions or anything above kind of like the 80 to 85% 1RM range. And in terms of agility, shorter runs, and jumps, this shoe is awesome. All right, so now let's talk size and fit of the Mizuno TC-01. This is a size 10 model in all of our cross-training shoe reviews. I wear a size 10. One thing to note about this is that there is no inner sock liner. It's all connected within, and it has the booty design. Also, I want to point out here that we have 5 eyelets running up, and we have the 6 eyelet back here that's usually used for lace lock. With this model, you don't really have the option to only use the fifth eyelet, so you do have to kind of snake it through and have it come out the 6th eyelet up here at the top. Now let's see how the shoe fits. I'll pull it tight to give you all an idea of what it looks like when it's a little bit more tight on the foot. We're not having any friction up here on the top of the laces. The booty design does a pretty good job at resisting any of that shoestring coming up and over this flap. So in terms of overall size and fit, I can splay my toes pretty well. The knit is pretty maneuverable and very flexible, so super comfortable ride up here in the midfoot and the forefoot. Up here on the toe, I have about a ½ inch to go. Not too jammed up here, and I never really experienced any jamming when jumping or running. So all in all, I think this shoe fits pretty true to size. If you want it to be a little bit more snug and you are erring on that side of maybe being a little bit smaller in your true to size shoe, maybe go a half size down, but I think you should be pretty safe going true to size. It fits very snug back here on the back, no heel slip whatsoever, even though it's a booty design. So I think Mizuno did a very good job at accounting for that. So all in all, go true to size in this model. If you do err a little bit on the smaller side of your true to size foot, then maybe consider going a half size down. So now let's dive into the construction of the Mizuno TC-01 training shoe. Just from taking on your first impression, we have the Mizuno branding on the lateral side, Mizuno up here on the medial toe, and then the TC-01 branding. So let's make our way from the toe to the heel on this model. Up here on the toe, we have a thicker outsole that wraps up and over. I think that's pretty cool at resisting any form of lipping when it comes to toe dragging movements. I love cross trainers that have this kind of trait to them. We have a full knit outer construction going all the way back from the toe to the heel. We have some air pockets up here in the toe to provide some breathability. You can almost see my fingers through these air pockets. The knit itself has a little bit of give to it. I didn't notice it stretching out a ton over the course of my workouts, but I am curious to see how it holds up over maybe 6 months to a year. I think it's going to be pretty good at remaining supportive, but again, that's just something to kind of keep in mind when looking into this model. The shoe itself has a booty design, so there is no separate tongue. We have 5 eyelets that run up with the 6th eyelet back here. It's often used for lace lock. With this model, you kind of have to use it. That shoestring comes in on the 5th, comes out on the 6th back here. So if I weren't to do that, it would have this awkward overlay right here. So you're kind of forced into wearing the 6th eyelet, and it doesn't make it uncomfortable. I actually think it's a pro for this model itself. We have a PU midsole that goes all the way back. As you can see, it has a little bit of give to it, so it is very reactive and very comfortable. Is it the most stable under weight? I discussed that in the performance section. Making our way to the heel, we have a decently high boot that comes up. This strap up here is pretty great for being able to pull the boot on, especially if you're sweaty. It doesn't have a loop back here, so this extended piece up here really helps with that. We have like kind of a plastic, I want to say PU back here, or TPU for that matter, that kind of encloses the heel and provides a little bit of stability. I personally like that because of booty designs. If you don't have a little bit of an extra cup on the heel, they can sometimes give way and get really too maneuverable over the course of a time. So I think Mizuno did something very cool by adding this in. The midsole of this model is slightly more rigid, has a nice grippy rubber texture to it, and it's supposed to kind of match up with the midsole. So something really interesting about this model is that Mizuno is using their C.O.B technology, which stands for center of balance. So what it's supposed to do is it has these sensor air clusters that have like little bumps up here on the midsole, and it's supposed to promote overall balance no matter what the activity is. Mizuno says they put a lot of research into making this shoe super accommodating for balance needs in different sports and different activities. So they use this technology to kind of promote that overall feeling and promote balance in general. There is no sock liner in here, it's all connected to one. And when you step in the shoe, you can actually feel those bumps that are mentioned. So those like little sensor air clusters that they have in the shoe, you can feel them throughout, which is really interesting. They're not uncomfortable by any means, but they definitely feel interesting compared to other shoes that have your more traditional sock liner. So all in all, I think that's all the construction traits that come into the Mizuno TC-01 that are worth noting. It's definitely an interesting shoe with a booty design, and I think the C.O.B technology is definitely different compared to others on the market. And that wraps up my review of the Mizuno TC-01 training shoe. This is definitely one of the more unique models I've tried, and I think Mizuno did a really cool thing by trying to take on that balanced approach to cross-training shoes. If you want to read my full thoughts on this model, make sure to visit our written review and Google BarBend and Mizuno TC-01.